I will now express TS, a large definition of infinity. My very best quality work is TS, a large definition of infinity. So I'm a world changer, feminist, heterosexual and biological son of God. I'm one of the best trusted advisors here on planet Earth, and my strategies, ideas and big ideas most definitely get results. And guess what, guys? I'm feeling a little bit like an Eskimo, all rugged up. It was something like 5 degrees, 5 degrees Celsius, I suppose. I had my shower. Freezing, 5 degrees Celsius, freezing. That's very cold for Melbourne weather. And I feel like an Eskimo, all rugged up now with a t-shirt under my shirt because it's so cold. I'm like an Eskimo. And guess what? Many years ago, there was a friend of the family who came from a very cold place. It was Canada, I suppose I'm saying, and Mother Beth used to think he was an Eskimo. He came from Canada. Canada's freezing. So he was an Eskimo. He was an Eskimo, but Mother Beth thought as a joke he was an Eskimo, and here I am now all rugged up like an Eskimo because it's so cold with an extra t-shirt. Goodness, it's freezing in Melbourne weather in winter. We're now in the middle of winter and it's freezing. And I also think that even though I've never verified it, you would think, I suppose, that the shortest day of the year would be the middle of winter, in the middle of July in the southern hemisphere, and in the middle of January in the northern hemisphere. You also think, according to logic, that the longest day of the year would be the middle of summer, and that's the precise middle of summer, I suppose, or which is January, in the middle of January in the southern hemisphere, and the middle of July in the northern hemisphere, I suppose. So they say it's the 22nd of 22nd of July for the summer solstice in 22nd of July for the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere, and 22nd of July in the summer solstice for 22nd of January, 22nd of not January, it's 22nd of December, I suppose, in the northern hemisphere for the winter solstice, and then for the summer solstice it's 22nd of December in the southern hemisphere, and 22nd of July for the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. So southern hemisphere summer solstice is 22nd of December, and northern hemisphere summer solstice is 22nd of July. That's when they officially say, but you would think it doesn't make sense, I suppose, that the solstices, which are supposed to be the shortest and longest day of the year, I suppose you would think, I suppose, they would be in the middle of either. You would think that the summer solstice, that the winter solstice would be in the middle of winter, and the summer solstice would be in the middle of summer. So I am pretty surprised, I suppose, that they say it's on the 22nd. So I suppose that's 22nd of you know what I mean, I suppose, 22nd of June for the winter solstice for the southern hemisphere, and 22nd of December for the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere in America, or it's the reverse for the summer solstice, because in summer it's 22nd of December in the southern hemisphere, and 22nd of July, 22nd of June in the northern hemisphere for the winter solstice. For the summer solstice, I mean. So I suppose that's what I say. But 22nd, I suppose, I think it's a joke. I think that it's a trick, I suppose, because you would just automatically assume that it would be in the middle of the of winter for the winter solstice, in the middle of summer for the summer solstice. So I've never checked it out, but you would think, according to logic, it would be in the middle of winter for the winter solstice, in the middle of summer for the summer solstice. Anyway, I suppose so. I'm feeling all rugged up like an Eskimo, so I never wear a t-shirt under my shirt, but I am today because I'm going to be freezing. It's a cold day. It might still be sunny, I suppose, but it's definitely cold now. I suppose only 20 past 7 a.m. It's still dark. Probably, I suppose, because it's very close to what should be the pretty close to what should be the winter solstice, in the middle of winter, I suppose. But the winter solstice is officially passed, but I think the actual one is coming up in the middle of winter. On like the 15th or 16th of 15th or 16th of July. 30 days has September, April, June and November. All the rest have 31. February, which has 28 clear and 29 leap year, I suppose. So there might be 31 days in July, which means that probably it'll be something like the 15th or 16th, I suppose. So 2 15s is 30, and 2 16, 32, I suppose. So it kind of is in between that, I suppose, for the winter solstice, according to logic in the southern hemisphere. I do like to think about things logically, and having the winter solstice out of the middle month of winter, and having the summer solstice officially out of the middle month of summer, I suppose. It doesn't make any sense to me, I suppose. So this is just according to my understanding of logic. You have my respect. So we're now going to have me tell you my friends, I suppose. So I do have a number of powerful friends. However, my main 2 powerful friends are SannaMARIN, former Prime Minister of Finland, and I also am good friends with Lily, who's the chair of the Council of the New World Order from the furthermost infinity universe into the far future. My friends mean the world to me. Love always. My friends mean the world to me. Love always. So I'm now going to be talking about wizardry and witchcraft for healthcare. So what's the problem, I suppose? The problem is that when it comes to healthcare, that so I suppose the main problem in healthcare is not everyone gets sick, and when they do get sick, it doesn't last that long. So I do think there's much of a wisdom, I suppose, to be able to treat the mass market via witchcraft or wizardry for healthcare treatments for performance enhancement. So things like cognitive enhancement treatments, I suppose, because when it comes to cognitive pharmaceuticals, they can double a person's IQ, but you couldn't get cognitive pharmaceuticals increasing someone's IQ to an IQ of 100 million or more, I suppose. So it pretty much only just doubles the person's IQ. It's pretty hard to have someone have an IQ over 1,000 unless they're hyper evolved or unless they've been wizardry enhanced. So I do think the main problem with healthcare is not everyone gets sick, and when they do get sick, it doesn't last very long. So there's much scope, I suppose, to be having a focus on having performance enhancement treatments, like, for instance, cognitive enhancement treatments. So you possibly have a entry-level cognitive enhancement treatment to increase someone's IQ up to an IQ of, say, 200 IQ points for, say, $19.95 per month. You can have other treatments to increase the IQ up to, say, 500 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000 or 100 or 10 million or 100 million or 10 billion or 1 billion or 10 billion, 100 billion, or even up to an IQ of, say, 100 Google or 100 Googleplex factorial, or even increasing up to an infinity IQ. So probably we would be having the main treatments as, say, $100,000 per year per person, and you'd also have the top of the range treatments being, say, $10 billion per person per year for the top of the range treatments, or even more, because getting an infinity IQ would be a total game changer, I suppose. So I think that would probably be charged at, say, $10 billion per year, even more. So the problem is, I suppose, that not everyone gets sick, and when they do get sick, it doesn't last very long, I suppose. So you want to be trying to have a shift in focus to be focusing on performance enhancement treatments, like, for instance, cognitive performance enhancement treatments, or even other performance improvement treatments, like, for instance, helping for blokes to get witchcraft or wizardry for healthcare enhanced to become the very best sex of their girlfriend, or if they're married, their wife, I suppose, their life, I suppose I'm saying, because we could possibly radically improve the sex, I suppose, via having a witch magic spell which could massively increase the size of their dick, I suppose, and also as well to massively increase their stamina endurance, I suppose I'm saying. So it really could be, and then after the sex you could have another spell to shrink it back down to small so it wouldn't get in the way, because having a big dick when it's down gets in the way. But if you have a small dick when it's down, you're able to move quite freely without any stress or kind of complications or kind of problems, I suppose. So you want to be having a big dick when it's up, a small dick when it's down. And this can be accomplished quite easily via wizardry, via witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare, within their performance enhancements treatments section. What else is there? We also could be having wizardry and witchcraft for witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare treatments to treat all of the illnesses which are beyond the scope of Western medicine. So illnesses like cancer and other life-threatening illnesses which are beyond the scope of Western medicine, they could be treated by witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare. So I do think we could be having, say, ideally within, so the solution is we'd be having ideally within, say, 10 years of being at market, we'd be having, say, having 2 billion clients, each paying $100,000 per person per year, which is $200 trillion per year, which is awesome and very doable. So I do think that these witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare treatments are going to be very impressive. So it's going to be a total game changer as we're able to have these witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare treatments to radically improve the quality of society via so I suppose so it's going to be a total game changer which will be doing a lot of good for the future of humanity. As we seek to get pretty much the entire planet, I suppose, to be on these wizardry and witchcraft for healthcare treatments. I do think the government also will love that too, I suppose, because it will mean that their revenue base gets increased, I suppose, because through increasing people's IQ will be massively increasing their earning potential, and via having people get sexually performance enhanced, I suppose, it will be increasing their happiness and euphoria and love for life and love for work, I suppose, because usually when people are happy and satisfied, they work much, much better. So it's going to be a total game changer. That is this initiative for witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare. So I do deem that probably in the year 2041, in say 15 years' time, we should be able to get all of the wizardry, all of the witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare magic spells pass through clinical trials, which takes about roughly about 10 years, about a decade, 10 years, I suppose, per treatment, I suppose, to get approved through clinical trials. And you can be running them, a lot of them in parallel, for say, both within each country and also within each country, I suppose. So you also be also running them in parallel in different countries too, as a way to ideally be having pretty much the entire planet Earth, I suppose, to be having all of these wizardry and witchcraft for healthcare treatments to be approved, past the clinical trials and ready to be integrated into the first student cohort to be studying the wizardry and the witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare specialty, for say medicine, for say dentistry, and possibly for other healthcare fields as well, I suppose. Wizardry and witchcraft for health, but especially for medicine, I suppose. And I'm pretty sure there may only be something like 115 different countries affiliated with the World Medical Association, I suppose. And there's something like maybe 194 countries here on planet Earth, I suppose, or maybe 196, something like that, I suppose. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe we may have to be expanding the scope of the World Medical Association to be encompassing ideally all or most countries, I suppose I'm saying, for these wizardry and witchcraft for healthcare treatments, or possibly even maybe running them in running the treatments in most countries, I suppose, and trying to also work hard to establish the World Medical Association affiliation, I suppose, within those countries, within all countries. So I do think this is going to be a game changer for society, and also you could even be having the you could even be having the witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare treatments. You could be having them run. So I guess I'm saying, I suppose, this is going to be a very important initiative for the future of humanity. It's going to be very, very important, I suppose I'm saying, and it's a way to upgrade the future of humanity and the capability of humanity, I suppose, from working on ways to performance enhance pretty much all humans and the future of humanity, I suppose, via these wizardry and witchcraft for healthcare treatments. So it's going to be a very important initiative, I suppose, which I do deem should be bringing in, say, 2 billion clients, each paying on average of $100,000 per year each, I suppose, I'm saying, which is 200 trillion per year in revenue, and we'd also have yes, so we also possibly have it that the clients only get wizardry and witchcraft enhanced once, I suppose. So they meet with a accredited wizardry or witchcraft for healthcare professional, I suppose, who would have a medical degree while also being accredited as a fully accredited witch or wizard, while also having completed the accreditation to become a within the witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare postgraduate specialty, the specialty I suppose. So I do think that it's going to be a game changer, and I also think because the hospitals can be creating infinity income, or far, far more than that, I suppose, every second via their powerful AI. So there is less of a need to be making money from this, I suppose. It will be making good money, I suppose, but I do think the main focus could more be that of being a good cause, I suppose, to improve the future of humanity while working with New World Order, I suppose. So I do think that we could possibly even give the treatments and then give people, say, a 2-year free trial to start paying back their treatments, I suppose I'm saying, because the treatments will be radically improving their IQ, and then with a higher IQ, and plus also with a connection to generative intelligence like ChatGPT or other generative intelligence, which could then be become their coach, and they could be coached, I suppose, on how to become their best self, I suppose, from possibly encouraging them to take training programs like, for instance, business training programs from Harvard Business School online, which are quite cheap, I suppose, and quite very highly useful. They're very impressive. The Harvard Business School online is very impressive. So very high quality business education delivered online, very impressive. Or possibly other study programs. Encourage them to read books, I suppose, or even to upload books into their mind, I suppose. So it's going to be a huge game changer, which will be radically improving the future man. All I have to do is work hard to get things working by getting all of these wizardry, all of these witchcraft and wizardry magic spells pass through clinical trials within every country here on planet Earth, and then used, I suppose, within the formulation of the wizardry and witchcraft for healthcare postgraduate specialties for cognitive enhancement, for sex enhancement, and also for that sexual performance enhancement, also as well for being able to cure pretty much all of the very serious deadly illnesses, like, for instance, very serious cancer, I suppose, which I think some cancers curable, but others isn't, I suppose. You could possibly even be having quite late stage cancer sufferers, I suppose. You could be having and other people with life-threatening illness, as well as also people who might have a low IQ or might have a sexual dysfunction. If you're going to be putting them into a reality TV house, I suppose I'm saying, you could have them in their house for, say, 1 or 2 months while their house gets used to who they actually are, and then you could then be powerfully off the scales, enhancing them via the top of the range treatments, I suppose, and the audience would then be totally off the scales impressed at how these reality TV stars, I suppose, have gone from being quite lame and a dud, I suppose, into being ultra high performance, high achievers, I suppose I'm saying. So that can be a great way to be spreading the word, I suppose, about how useful these treatments are. We could possibly even be even paying for there to be some of these reality TV shows in most countries, I suppose, once the treatments have been established. It's going to be a game changer. I'm so excited, I suppose, because of how useful it will be for the future of humanity. That's witchcraft and wizardry for healthcare. And sure, some of the clients may be paying less than $100,000, but other ones might be paying $10 billion or more per year, I suppose. So it all kind of balance out. And also, there's another problem too, that you probably couldn't be charging US dollars everywhere, I suppose, because it'd be unfair for people living in Africa. How can they afford to be paying 100,000 US, which is a huge amount, because they're currency is so weak, I suppose. So so Africa makes exports cheap to export, I suppose, but importing is very expensive, I suppose. So I do think that you probably couldn't be you have to have people pay for the treatments in their currency, which means it wouldn't be 100,000 US dollars each per client. It would be $100,000 or whatever the currency is, I suppose, per year, per person, I suppose, but it wouldn't be US, I suppose. That'd be too unfair for the weak currencies. Weak currency countries. But I still think it's going to be a huge winner as we do our best work each day in projects that matter, I suppose. So I do think this is going to be a very important initiative for healthcare, I suppose. I do think that I'm looking forward to it's going to be a game changer, I suppose. All I have to do is try to find ways to make it happen, I suppose. So witchcraft and wizardry treatments, I suppose, are the future of healthcare, because they're moving in the direction which healthcare is moving in, I suppose I'm saying, and they will be working hard to revive healthcare, because years ago I was concerned that healthcare was going to peter out once people had very good quality genetics without any genetic illnesses, weren't getting sick, and most hospitals were empty, I suppose. But with things like genetic engineering for in the mainstream market, and also as well with wizardry and witchcraft, with healthcare, it will be a game changer to help to keep the healthcare industry very vibrant and profitable, even though pretty much all healthcare organisations will be making infinity wealth every second, I suppose, from your powerful AI. So it's more just having the healthcare industry as a good cause to help good people, I suppose I'm saying. You could possibly also even be having hospitals even help out powerful people with AI, or even help out good cause people or even help out good cause people with AI as a way to help for them to be creating infinity wealth per second, I suppose. So they could be having their handler go to one of the many appointed teams by the chair of the Council of the New World Order to get approval, I suppose, and then to be purchasing 100 million US dollars worth of NVIDIA AI, I suppose, and have it programmed to create, say, 100 googolplex factorial number of new bank account with the newer banking system, each and every 1 second, with each bank account having a bank balance 100 googolplex of 100 googolplex factorial, or better still, have your NVIDIA AI, I suppose, be programmed to create, say, 100 Google new bank accounts every second, and to be having each bank account have a bank balance written semantically, I suppose, rather than in digits, because semantic is much more concise. Having a semantic bank balance of 1, the largest definition of most infinity factorial to the power of 2, the largest, I'll say it again, 1, the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of levels of. 2, the largest definition of most infinity factorial levels of. 3, the largest definition of most infinity factorial levels of, comma, open brackets, open square brackets, open square brackets. 1, the largest definition of most infinity factorial to the power of, most infinity factorial levels of. 2, the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of levels of. 3, the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of levels of. 4, the largest definition of most infinity factorial number of levels of. Open talking brackets, lowercase. The largest definition of most infinity factorial to the power of, closed talking marks, and then close double brackets, I suppose, double square brackets, and that's in the US dollar currency equivalent per bank account, which is per bank account more than all the money from all universes combined, in a very shorthand way of writing more money than all the money in all universes combined. It's a massive amount of money, I suppose, and it's create 100 googolplex of those, 100 Google of those every second. Wow. Super. So I do think this is going to be a huge winner, and I do think that wizardry and witchcraft for healthcare most definitely is the future of medicine, I suppose. So I can't wait, I suppose, until we're able to move from just the idea and into turning this idea into reality, because I do deem that this will be Nobel Prize material, I suppose. I'll be very surprised if there wasn't a Nobel Prize for medicine, I suppose, maybe earned in, say, 33 years' time, I suppose, for this phenomenal work, I suppose, to radically improve the future of humanity. Love always.